Chapter 1. Liam Weber woke up screaming from his dream. He wiped the hair out of his face. He could not remember any details of it, but the dream gave him a sense of uncertainty about his life. In his mind, his dream made him feel like his life was just a dream. He kept on screaming until the door to his room opened and a strange yet calming voice said, "Wendy, dear, are you all right?" He answered yes to the question. His voice was high. That dream he had was so unsettling, he did not notice his voice or that he had to wipe hair from his face. The stranger turned on the light. He recognized the person as his mother, but that was not right. She did not look right to him. She looked more like his father's sister. Wait, my father does not have a sister. Yes, he does, my mom does not. He was still confused when the woman came to his bed to check on him. He finally took the cover off to sit up in bed. As his arms moved them away, he noticed he did not have his sleeping shirt on. He then felt straps on his shoulders. He looked down and saw he had a nightgown on. He then saw he had breasts. He started to look around and his room was different. His covers were a light purple. Where his television and PlayStation 4 should have been, there was now a vanity. There was a shoe rack with over 10 pairs of women's shoes in the corner where he kept his sneakers and dress shoes. Hanging from his closet was not his suit which he was going to wear to his debate club match he had. In its place was a pink sheath dress and black women's blazer. Lastly, he noticed how much neater his room was and he liked that it was not a mess. He was soaking in the strange, yet recognizable surrounding when his mom asked him again if he was all right. He said, "Yes, Mom." Liam was trying to process what is going on. "Wait, I call my mother, M. No, that is my father I call D. No, I call my father, Dad and my mom, M. I am so confused, it is William who calls his father Dad and I call mine D. Hold on, my name is William, but she called me Wendy and I answered to it. What is going on?" His mom lovingly told him he must have had a real bad dream. He agreed and thought to himself, reality is not that good also. To him, it felt like until he woke up, he had two lives. His real one was as William and this other one where he was Wendy. He finally got his faculties back and realized he was a girl. He got scared for it felt like he has always been Wendy, yet her memories came more from him watching a film, where he was empathetic to the protagonist and William's memories felt like they came from his experiences. He looked at his new mother, this stranger in front of him which he felt so much love for and a close bond. The floodgates of memories opened up for him. He remembered her teaching him to tie her shoes, no, his shoes. They were his shoes, boys' shoes. It was not this lady who taught him how to tie shoes. It was this lady who taught Wendy how to tie shoes. He remembered her putting a band-aid on his skinned knee. He skinned it skipping rope. No, he never skipped rope, it was from falling from a tree. It could not be from falling from a tree for he had a dress and Mary Jane's on. He would never climb a tree in Mary Jane's for they did not have the traction for it. Liam hugged his new mother and told her he was fine and that he loved her. She kissed him on his cheek and told him she loved her precious daughter and to get back to bed. Liam knew he should have objected to being called daughter, yet it felt so good to hear those words. Those words reassured him that everything was going to be fine. After saying those words, she left Liam's room. Chapter 2. Liam turned on the lamp next to his bed and finally saw his hands. His fingernails were long and painted red. Seeing them long did not shock him as much as it should have. It was how pleased he was with them and himself that surprised him. He was happy that he finally got rid of that bad habit of picking his fingernails. Liam put his hands on his face to help reset himself. It only made him more confused. His face was more slender than before, his skin was softer. He did not feel any stubble from his facial hair. He shook his head in disbelief and felt a mane of hair shook along with it. His hair must be past his shoulders. He ran his hands through it. His hair was finer and thicker. Each strand of it was not as thick as it should be, and there were more of them. He had to get out of bed to see what is going on. He looked down at his feet as they hit the ground. He saw that the toenails were painted the same red as his fingernails. He wiggled his toes and giggles. He found them cute. He found his giggle cute. He knew that he did not like being cute, yet he was enjoying how cute his toes were and his giggle sounded. Liam turned on his bedroom light and made it to the vanity. He sat down and looked in the mirror. The face he saw looking back at his was so familiar, yet not his own. It was one of a cute girl his age. Her light auburn hair was long with natural curls. He thought, just my luck, I am cute while my older sister is beautiful. He then thought, he did not have an older sister, but an older brother. He was the younger sister now. Wait, he cannot be the younger sister, for he was William. Then, William started to figure out William was not William anymore, he was Wendy. Wendy started to think, what is going on? Why does she have a set of memories which are so similar, yet so foreign to each other? How can this be? Wendy starts to think about her father. She had two memories come to her which both were real. He was a doctor, Dr. Doyle. No, he was Dr. Weber. No, Doyle was her mother's maiden name. That was wrong, for Doyle was Liam's mom's maiden name. Yes, I got it, my dad is Dr. Doyle and Liam's dad is Dr. Weber, Wendy thought. They had to be different people, for my dad is a general practitioner and Liam's dad is an eye, nose and throat specialist. Wendy was happy that it was not so confusing after all. She started to think of her mom. Her mom was a nurse, just like Liam's mom. That was strange that both of their parents had the same jobs. Who was this Liam anyway, and why do his memories seem so much more real than hers? Then, Wendy thought more about her mom and dad. At the same time, memories from Liam's mom and dad surfaced to her consciousness. It was so eerie to her, how they would parallel each other, yet be mirror opposites in other manners. What happened was the same, but the personalities of the people were switch. It was like her dad was the male version of Liam's mom and vice versa. She could not take thinking of her parents anymore. It was unsettling that those stories from Liam were also coming into her mind. She started to think of her brother, the head cheerleader. No, Liam's sister is the head cheerleader, her brother was the star quarterback. He was handsome, her friend had a crush on him and thought that Iris looked so good in his football uniform. No, Iris was Liam's sister, her brother's name was Ian. Wendy quit thinking about her brother and started to think about her brother's best friend Vic. She was relieved, for only one name came to her. Vic also played football, he was the slot receiver and only played in 3 wide receivers sets. She was a little freaked out when she thought about the crush she had on him. That was her brother's best friend and a dear friend of hers also. Plus, it was Vicky that she had a crush on. No, she liked boys, and Liam had a crush on Vicky. Vicky was the female version of Vic in Liam's universe. When she used the phrase universe while thinking to herself, it dawned on her. Liam must be the male version of her in some parallel universe. She knew that thought was ludicrous and deep down inside, not true. It was just better than the alternative reason she thought of. That she was crazy, not just crazy but batshit crazy. She went on comforting herself with that lie about the parallel universe. She went back to thinking of her friend Vic. How they knew each other since she could remember him. How he used to come over to play with Ian and made sure that she was included. He also made sure that she did not feel like the tag-along sibling. Vic made sure that when she wanted to play army men, they would. No, she would play army men with Ian and Vic, and then Vic made sure they played house. Thinking of playing house made her smile. That was for Vic always made sure he was her wife. No, that she was the wife. God damn those memories from Liam. They were so real and fit so well into her life. Thinking of those alternative memories, she knew she had to make sure no one knew about them. They would dismiss them and think she was crazy. She was not, they were real. Every ounce of her essence screamed in unison, Liam was real. She was Liam. She knew it. Deep down, she knew that she was a boy named Liam. What had her puzzled was how easy she was adapting to her new life. She knew she should be freaking out about having a new body, having a new past, yet she was calm about it. She wanted to know what was going on, but was not that concerned about it. Wendy started to wonder if everyone else knew about the change like she did. That maybe her new mom knew, but just played the role so no one was any wiser about her new reality. Wendy came to the conclusion that at least her mom did not know. She was too natural and quick with her actions and responses. Chapter 3. It was 12:45 when Wendy looked at the time. She decided to go back to bed. She was tired and had a big day ahead of her. She wanted to do well in the debate. It was important to her for she had to show up her rival, Kim Henson. No, Kim Henson was Liam's rival, Ben Peterson was hers. As she drifted off to sleep, she thought about Kim/Ben and why they were rivals. They were in the same year in school and Ben, like Kim, wanted to be valedictorian of their class. The only obstacle to Ben getting the honor was Wendy. That drove Ben crazy, and Wendy being apathetic to that title made his craziness worse. Then, Wendy's thoughts drifted to her best friend Gina Gutenberg and Liam's best friend Larry Weinberg. She was happy that Gina was also planning on being a software engineer like Larry. She laughed when she thought about Gina being a majorette. It was so funny, for Larry loved to girls in those outfits, and now she loved to be in one too. If Larry only knew about that. Then again, if Larry did know what their real life was, he would not really care that he liked to be in that outfit. Just like Wendy has not cared about liking her room so much. She smiled as she knew that Gina liked to be in the outfit herself. It made her feel good. Good, my friend is not trying to impress guys with her body. Wendy started to think about how guys should be more worried about whom the girl is, and not how she looked, or how she dressed. It is not fair, she thought. An ugly boy can be with a beautiful girl without most people saying she is out of his league. While get a handsome guy with an ugly girl and most people say that he can do so much better, he is out of her league. Wendy was not happy about seeing this double standard. Before drifting off to sleep, Wendy thought about how life is going to be different now as a female. Chapter 4. Wendy looked in the closet door mirror, giving her outfit one final look over. She wanted to make sure that she went with the right decision of going with a new outfit, instead of going with the pink sheath dress. Wendy went with the skirt, which came with the blazer from the original ensemble, and a pleated pink silk shell top. She also changed her shoes from her pink high heels to black kitten heels. Wendy studied her look and was pleased. She felt that her clothes made her look professional, mature, and they did the job she wanted them to do. She was a little jealous of when she was Liam, as he did not have to put that much time and effort in how he looked. As long as the clothes were clean, and the right style, he was ready. He did not have as many choices. He only had one pair of dress shoes and he would just pick a random tie. She had at least 4 pairs of shoes which would go with this outfit. Wendy grabbed her purse along with her book bag and then left her room, ready for her day. On her way to the kitchen to eat breakfast, she quickly thought if she should have changed purses. This one, her everyday black leather handbag, was good enough. It will not be at the debate, so why worry about it? She did marvel at how she was done getting ready in no time. Doing her makeup and hair was second nature to her. She really liked how the fishtail braid looked on her. It highlighted her high cheekbones and made her look professional. Wendy made it downstairs and saw her dad and brother for the first time. They both smiled at her. Her dad was a little husky, just like Liam's mom. Her brother was tall and built. Even with him being a 5-star recruit as QB, she did not expect that. Iris was fit but never touched weights in her life. Wendy just could not picture the male version of Iris working out. Wendy said good morning. Ian grunted, morning sis. She knew he was nervous about the entire day. This morning, a college football scout from a powerhouse is doing an official visit at his house, and at the game tonight, 3 other scouts were going to be there to see him play too. If he was not nervous, it would have been his usual greeting of, good morning sis, I love you. Wendy was happy that her and Ian's relationship was as close as Liam and Iris' relationship. Her dad half-jokingly said, only good morning, doesn't the old man get a good morning kiss from his little princess, or is she too old for that now? Wendy felt a little strange going over to kiss her dad on the cheek. It was that Liam's relationship with his dad was close, but his dad was not the touchy-feely type. Her dad was the male version of Liam's mom. When she remembered that her dad was Liam's mom, it did not feel bad. Wendy also thought about how her dad's last statement was only a half-joke. She knew that her dad viewed her like Liam's mom viewed him, their little baby. She came to the realization that she was going to always be called Little Princess by her dad. She sat down and her mom served Wendy's traditional debate day breakfast of Belgian waffles topped with cinnamon apples. She just looked at the breakfast. Even with being Wendy, she wanted Liam's traditional debate breakfast of bacon and eggs. Ian looked up, and knew from Wendy's actions she was not in the mood for the waffles. He knew that was strange for how superstitious Wendy was with her rituals. He asked his mom to make him some waffles and she said there was no batter left. Wendy quickly said, Ian, with you having a big game tonight, you can have mine. Maybe Mom will make me bacon and eggs. Ian and Wendy made eye contact. The look on Wendy's face told him thank you. Ian's look told her, anything for you sis. Wendy's mom was more than happy to make her bacon and eggs. It was time for Wendy to quit being so irrational about having to do the same things on big days. Wendy's dad checked to make sure that she was all right and encouraged her to eat her normal breakfast. Her mom told him to quit babying her, to treat her like an adult, and not to encourage Wendy's rituals. Wendy's dad told his wife, whatever Wendy wanted to do was fine with him. There was nothing wrong with doing little things to stay relaxed before an event and that she should not look down on Wendy wanting the same breakfast before a debate. Wendy's mom did not look down on it, she just thought that Wendy needed to be more self-confident. That Wendy should not even worry about the debate, for she was going to lead her team to victory. She told Rich, her husband, that she just wanted to make sure Wendy knew that she did not need to have waffles to do well in the debate. Rich smiled and told his wife he loved her, and that she was the best partner for him. That she was right about Wendy not needing the waffles, and she also did a great job in raising a strong woman. Rich was emotional like Liam's mom. It was bittersweet for him to see her little girl become a woman. Wendy knew this and told her dad not to worry, she would always be his little princess. Chapter 5. Victor was getting ready to leave the house and his dad told him he better ask Wendy to the dance tomorrow. This was his chance, and not to be a knucklehead and blow it. Vic agreed with him as he left the house. It was a little weird for Victor to be talking girls with his dad. One reason was, it is always a little weird for a teenage boy to be talking about girls with his father. More importantly, until the middle of last night, Victor was Victoria and his father was her mother. If that was not weird enough, it was like only Victor could remember the real past. Vic told the truth when he agreed with his father. He was going to ask Wendy to the dance. He had the same feeling for Wendy that Vicky had for Liam. While he was Vicky, he could never ask Liam out. Girls did not ask boys out. Girls also did not date younger boys, at least if they were cheerleaders. It has now changed, he was now Victor. He was not going to miss the chance of, for once, being able to ask someone he liked out. He enjoyed not having to wait and hope that the person he liked would make an advance. He loved being Victoria, but hated the social norms he had to follow about dating when he was her. Why was it not right for her to ask a boy out? Then, he thought how unfair it was to Liam, he could not ask her out for she was older. He then wondered why Liam followed that social norm. Liam was not a follower, he did his own thing. He did not care about fashion, he wore cigar shirts all the time. He spoke his mind, he would tell anyone if he thought they were wrong. When people tried to put him down about being nice or kind, he would thank them for noticing those good traits. Liam was confident in who he was, so it kind of baffled Vic why he never asked Vicky out. While waiting for Wendy, Vic used the rearview mirror to study his face. His first thought was that he was hot. As Vicky, he never really cared about how her boyfriend looked, so he found it odd that the first thing he noticed was his attractiveness. Vic saw he had a chiseled jaw, dark brown eyes and jet black hair. His slightly crooked nose, from breaking it, even added to his good looks. It made him look a little rugged in a safe manner. Wendy was a little unsettled by the time she made it to Vic's car. Her saying that she would always be her dad's little princess made her really think of the ramification of what has happened to her. She liked saying that to her dad and liked being cute. She came to the conclusion that even with knowing that she should not enjoy being a girl, she did. Wendy saw Vic waiting in the car, so she just opened up the front door and got in. After she sat down and closed the door, Vic looked at her and greeted her with, "Hey there, cutie." Wendy was aghast that Vic called her cutie. That is so out of character for Vicky. She knew that was not Vicky, but still, Vicky would be appalled if she knew the male version of her used such a condescending pet name to greet a friend. Wendy fired back, "Hey there, stud." Vic was taken back hearing the edge in Wendy's voice. What did he do wrong in trying to show familiarity and affection for Wendy? Wendy saw the look on Vic's face and quickly apologized. "Sorry, Vic, I am just nervous about the debate and my dad called me his little princess again today. You saying cutie to me is so out of character for you, so what is up?" Vic could not believe he could not find the words to explain it to Wendy. It was not nervousness, it was actually his first time asking anyone out, let alone a girl. To top it off, He wondered why he wanted to go out with Wendy. He knew he did, but until yesterday he was Vicky, and she dated only boys. Vic decided to go with actions. He leaned in and went to kiss Wendy. Wendy pulled away, but quickly her head changed directions and went in closer. This kiss was just like any other first kiss a person had, sweet, tender, memorable, full of anxiety and excitement. Wendy asked Vic what was that about. He still could not find the words and just told her that he wanted to be her date for the homecoming dance tomorrow. Then, he changed his mind. He did not want that, he wanted her to be his girlfriend, and then go the homecoming dance with her. After those words left his mouth, Vic knew the next time he ever asked a girl out, he was going to have a better plan. He never realized how hard it is to come up with the right words to say. He felt like he came across too pushy by saying girlfriend before they even had a date. That is something a boy would do. Then he thought, I am a boy now and need to learn from that mistake. Wendy could not believe what Vic was saying. What was more unbelievable was she wanted to say yes, right away. Until she was kissed by Vic, it was inconceivable that she would enjoy being kissed by a boy. She did, and to make the situation better, it was the boy she had a crush on, and he wanted to go steady. She hugged and kissed him on the cheek after she said, yes. Chapter 6. After the kiss, it got a little quiet and awkward in the car. They both were thinking about what just happened and their reaction to it. Wendy knew that she could have easily talked to her best friend about her crush on Vic, but acting out on it seemed so foreign to her. It felt good, but just so unfamiliar. That same good and unfamiliar feeling was also true for Vic. As they were driving to school, Vic finally asked Wendy why she was so quiet. It was his attempt to break the tension, and also Vic had genuine concerns about Wendy. Without knowing that Wendy was having the same experience of being the opposite gender, Vic could not imagine that she was feeling the same way as he was. Wendy did not want to come off as sounding crazy, so she lied. It is for I never kissed a boy, I mean a man, I mean you, before. Wendy cursed herself under her breath. She should have waited to come up with an answer that sounded just like what it was, a lie. A total lie, for they kissed when they were kids and always joked about it, both as Wendy and Vic and Liam and Vicky. Even if somehow Vic believed it, she still came off as sounding like she was not ready to be in a relationship with him. Wendy knew she was not ready to handle that part of womanhood, but she still wanted it. She was going to become comfortable with being the female in the relationship so her life could be as normal as possible. Vic knew it was a lie. He thought that Wendy just felt pressure to say yes to going steady. He cursed himself for doing that. He wanted to make Wendy feel better, so he went on to retell the story of their real first kiss. Vic was caught up in the moment, told the wrong story for this reality. Vic said, "That is not true, we kissed that Halloween when you were Batman and I was Vicky Vale." Vic started to wonder how the hell he was going to get out of this one. That was not the kiss Wendy would remember. In what Vic thought was Wendy's reality and not one of his, the kiss happened on the same Halloween, but the events were either different or reversed. Vic was Spider-Man and Wendy was Stacy Gwen. Instead of Vicky having to explain who Vicky Vale was to neighbors passing out candy, Wendy had to do the same about Stacy Gwen. At the end of the night, Vic kissed Wendy for being Stacy for him, while Liam kissed Vicky for being Vicky Vale. Vicky responded, "Thank you for that, was the sweetest thing I got the entire night." Wendy was shocked at hearing the story. Vic must know he was once Vicky. That was the only logical explanation. Wendy said, after the kiss, "You told Liam that was the sweetest thing you got the entire night." Vic asked, "What the hell is going on?" Even with Wendy knowing the story, he did not think she was having the same experience as him. It was more feasible that she could read his mind. He liked the odds that this was just the most realistic dream Vicky ever had, and that Wendy used to be Liam. He asked her how she knew that. Vic did not want to know how Wendy knew what Vicky said, for Wendy said the same thing, so that somehow made sense to him. He wanted to know how she knew the name Liam. Even with the question being vague, Wendy knew exactly what the question was. It was the name. Wendy took the chance of telling someone her version of reality, for Vic would have to believe her. She said, "I know Liam, for I am him. I do not know what happened, but until yesterday, I was Liam. An average teenage boy who loved video games, playing and watching sports, comic books, Dungeons and Dragons, not caring about fashion. Now I am Wendy, a cute girly girl, who is her daddy's little princess that loves a good romance novel, talking with friends about emotions, riding my bike and I that am a cutie." Vic tried his best to not laugh, but did. He felt bad until Wendy started to laugh with him and said, "You have no room to laugh, stud. You are now a jock who loves to play Halo, has no fashion sense, laughs at farts jokes, and you are now a stud." Vic was happy, the mood in the car got lighter, and joked back by asking Wendy why Liam never told Vicky how funny fart jokes were. Wendy played right back and answered for the same reason Vicky never told Liam how awesome it was when you picked the right outfit for the occasion. Vic got serious and told Wendy that she did not have to go to the dance with him or be his girlfriend. Wendy did not like the fact that it felt like Vic was trying to back out of going to the dance. She felt it was wrong to build up her hope and then take it away. Wendy told Vic, "Listen here, mister. You are taking me to the dance. I so wanted to date you when I was Liam and we might not be our right sex, but I finally got my dream girl, and I am not going to lose her just because I look better in a dress than her. Think of how we got along when we were Liam and Vicky, and how we get along as Vic and Wendy. If we mesh so well together, no matter what sex our body is, I think that is a sign we should be together. Plus, I think we can really help each other cope with our new normal. We might be the only two people who are experiencing this new reality with knowledge of the old one. We will respect each other for taking our relationship slow and understanding what the other is going through. I know it must be hard for you to be a teenage boy, for it was hard for me and I spent my entire life as a boy. You also know it is hard for me to be a teenage girl, for you spent your entire life as a girl. So here is the deal, you will be taking me to the homecoming dance and we are going to be a couple. Plus, our dads will kill us if they found out we backed out on our first date." Vic knew that Wendy was right. Liam and Vicky's mom so wanted those two to date, and they knew their dads were the same way. He was also a little surprised when he heard that Vicky was Liam's dream girl. Now, he really wondered why Liam never asked Vicky out and asked Wendy why. Wendy shook her head in astonishment and answered Vic's inquiry. "Vic, every time Liam asked Vicky to do something with just the two us, that was me, him asking you out on a date. That is why it only ever happened when neither of us was seeing someone or getting over a breakup. I did not push it, for I wanted to maintain our close friendship. I wanted to make sure we were both there for each other when the other needed it. If I had pushed it and you said no, that would have weakened our friendship." Vic felt bad for Wendy right then. It must have been hard for her when she was Liam, to have Vicky always turning down his advances. Then, to top it off, she did not even recognize the fact that Liam was asking her out on a date. If it was any other guy, she would have. Vic said, "I did not know." "I know, she just thought that you, sorry him, wanted to hang out with his dear friend." I cannot say Liam should have been more upfront, for he was just as upfront as any other guy that asked Vicky out. Vicky should have been more receptive. I am shocked she wasn't. Women are supposed to be that way. Wendy knew that Vic felt real remorse and did not want him to. Also, she wanted to clear up the pronoun and name confusion. She might be Wendy now, but she was Liam. Wendy told Vic, "Dear, how could you have known, so don't worry about it. It is the past and now we are starting a new relationship. I know it was not how either of us would have wished it would have started, but we still have each other. We are the same people, so when talking about Liam and Vicky we should not refer to them in the third person. They are us and make us who we are. I know we have the memories of Wendy and Victor, but we have the experiences of Liam and Vicky. I think that the experience a person has is what makes them who they are, so we are still them. We might become less like them, but what happened as Liam and Vicky will always be a major factor in who we will become." Vic was impressed with Wendy's little speeches. Liam had a way with words, but now as Wendy, she was more in touch with her emotional side and could express it better. Vic momentarily pondered if his not being able to find the right words to ask Wendy out is for he was now not as much in touch with his emotional side. He hoped not. Chapter 7. They were almost at school when Vic came up with an idea. He was going to do a little something nice for his new girlfriend. He made a turn into the shopping mall and Wendy asked what was up. Vic, with a sly smile, told her he needed to get something from the grocery store. Wendy knew he was up to something but thought it did not concern her. Vic got out of the car and asked Wendy if she wanted anything and to stay in the car if she did not mind. Wendy was planning on staying in the car anyway, for she wanted to get on FaceSpace to post her new relationship status. She told Vic she wanted nothing and was fine with staying in the car. She went on FaceSpace to announce the news. She knew that Gina and all her friends will be happy for her. She wanted to share the news right away and also could not wait to talk to them about it. She wanted to tell them how sweet Vic was in asking her out. How happy she was saying yes. She put the post up and changed her relationship status, and it dawned on her. She was going to have to deal with Terry Jo Hines, Vic's ex-girlfriend. Those two broke up last weekend when Vic caught Terry Jo with another boy. As with everything else, it paralleled the story of Liam and Vicky's old life. Vicky caught her boyfriend, Terrence Clemens, with another girl. Wendy knew the worst of what could happen is that Terry Jo would try to spread some nasty rumors about her around the school. Wendy just wanted it to not start until Monday. She had that big debate in the afternoon, and did not want that drama to distract her. Then, she had the dance tomorrow, and did not want Terry Jo's pettiness to kill her buzz. OMG, the dance! Wendy thought. She started to panic, for she did not have anything to wear. While she did have something, she wanted something nice and new to represent the start of a nice and new relationship. She also needed to get her hair done. She had an appointment for next weekend, so she could easily justify it to her mom and Dee. She looked at her nails and thought that she needed a manicure too. She quickly called her mom, hoping that she had not left for work yet. Her mom answered, and Wendy quickly told her about Vic asking her to the dance and what all she needed to do tomorrow. Her mom was happy for her and told her, of course, they can have a nice mother-daughter morning out. Wendy hung up the phone. She could not believe how girly she was now and how much she enjoyed it. In a manner, she knew this was not her real self. It was like she was playing a role in which she was totally immersed. While thinking of the metaphysics of her situation, Wendy's phone rang. She answered it, and it was Gina. She knew exactly what Gina wanted, details of what happened, and also an explanation of why Wendy did not call her right away. Wendy was more than happy to provide both. After hearing Wendy's details and explanation, Gina said in no uncertain terms that they were going to meet at the mall before Wendy went shopping. Gina also said how excited she was for her friend and knew that Wendy and Vic were going to be a great couple. Wendy was too busy talking to see that Vic came out of the store with a single rose. Vic knew he might not be able to express himself verbally as well as he did as Vicky, but he would be better able to do so with actions. He had an unfair advantage compared to the rest of the men on the planet. He knew exactly the female experience would be received. He was going to use that edge to his and Wendy's benefit. She was going to feel like his queen. Vic opened up the door and Wendy got off the phone. Her eyes widened when she saw the rose. The smile on her face made all the morning light attached to it seem brighter. It also made his day. He felt so good that his little gesture was able to brighten that cute face and make her day. The best part was that Vic thought to himself that he might like being a boy if some small gesture like giving someone a rose made him feel this incredible. The joy of seeing that rose was beyond belief to Wendy. That little gesture made her feel like she was on top of the world. It warmed her up inside. The best part was, she thought to herself, she might like being a girl if some small gesture like getting a single rose made her feel this incredible. Vic was in the car and finally gave Wendy the rose. Wendy hugged him and thanked him. Vic said, "Wendy, I know how important getting the rose is for you. That is for it used to be that important to me. You also know how important it is for me to give you this rose. That is for doing that gesture used to be that important to you. We have something unique and special, we understand each other's point of view from actually experiencing it. I know what will make you feel special and what will make you upset. I promise to make sure that I will always make you feel special and be there for you when you feel upset." Those words made Wendy's heart flutter. Vic sounded more like Vicky than himself. Right then, it felt like she had the best of both worlds. She had her dream guy and Liam had his dream girl. Her response, "Vic, I also know what will make you feel special and what will upset you. I promise to make sure that I will always make you feel special and be there for you when you feel upset. I know that our relationship will blossom, for we can and do appreciate each other in a way only we can. I will enjoy watching or even playing video games with you, for I can recall how much fun they are. You will enjoy going clothes shopping with me or even hearing about it. The reason is, for the other will have a joy we can totally understand and we have had experienced." They gave each other an affectionate kiss and Vic drove them to school. On the drive there, he thought about how different it was for him to tap into his emotional side. It felt rawer and to the point than when he was Vicky. Wendy sat in the passenger seat, thinking about how nice it felt being immersed in her emotions. Wendy got the lobby and it was memory overload. Each person she saw, if she thought of their name, she got their name now and also who Liam knew them as. She saw Frank, who used to be Liam's ex-girlfriend Renee. She laughed to herself, for she had the same question about him that Liam had about Renee. What did I ever see in that person? Another part of the overload on her mind was how she was looking at the outfits the girls were wearing. She first thought about how they would look on her, and then thought about what she would do different with the outfit. Lastly, she thought about if it was right for the girl. She was not judging if it was right for the girl's body, but if the girl had the right attitude to pull it off, if the girl looked comfortable in it. She finally joined Gina, Abby, Simone, and Daria. Looking at Simone, Wendy could not help but be surprised. She remembered Simone played fast-pitch softball. When Simone was Eddie, he was not athletic at all. He was tall, lanky, and a little clumsy. She was shocked to get the same memory about what Abby's plans for the future were as her old self, Mike. Abby was going to be a cabinet maker like Mike was, as she loved working with wood. Wendy was soaking in all the new information she had about her friends until they could not take not knowing about her and Vic hooking up anymore. Abby asked her to tell them all about what happened. Wendy started the story and found out that she was not bored telling it for the second time. She knew that as Liam she would have told Larry to tell them, for he would not have wanted to repeat himself so quickly after just telling someone. Wendy went to homeroom and started to dread her first class. It was gym. She did not want to change with other girls. She was self-conscious of her new body. Even with becoming more comfortable being a girl, she still knew she was Liam, or at least had part of him in her. That fact added to her self-consciousness of changing with girls. Lastly, she did not want to look at another girl naked. She was scared that she might look too long. That would be disrespectful. Changing for gym was uneventful, and Wendy was thankful that her fears were unfounded. The class itself was harder than any gym class Liam took. The teacher, Mrs. Blunt, actually expected more than just it being a free period where the girls played some sports. It made sense to Wendy. It did take some encouragement for girls to play sports. Wendy knew part of the reason why some girls needed encouragement to play sports was, to some, it was unladylike to play sports. While standing in line, as Mrs. Blunt did attendance, Wendy was happy that today they would be playing basketball. As Liam, she loved to play basketball and wonder how much of his skills she had retained. Wendy soon found out that she kept Liam's skills in basketball, and she was one of the best players on the court. After class was over, Mrs. Blunt told Wendy she should join basketball team. Wendy quickly said yes. The next couple classes were as normal as they could be for someone who woke up in a world where everyone was the opposite sex than they should be. Her history teacher was the female version of Liam's and taught class in the same manner. Her physics teacher was the first person she saw who she only knew from this reality. She then tried to think of where her old physics teacher was and had no idea of the new life she was having as a woman. It came time to leave for the debate. The team was in the room and their sponsor, Ms. Baker, came in. She told the team where they were going to sit, and Wendy did not like she was not in the captain's chair. She had the highest grade point average in the class, so thought she earned the right to be the captain, but Ms. Baker gave the captainship to Ben Peterson. Wendy spoke out right away. Ms. Baker, I should be the captain, for it is given to the person who has the highest grade point average on the team. Ms. Baker replied, Wendy, we talked about this, and you were fine when I asked you if Ben was captain. You know it will help him get into his college of choice, and also it will help the team. Wendy did agree to it, but it was after much badgering from Ms. Baker. Wendy said the only reason I agreed to it was for you kept on asking, and I felt pressure from you to do so. You would not have asked Ben repeatedly to give up the captainship if he earned it like me. Ben did not like that Wendy was trying to take away this honor. He believed he should have been captain, for in his mind, the only reason Wendy had a higher grade point average was because of gym class. He conveniently forgotten they were in the same English class last year and had gotten only an A in the English while Wendy got an A+. Ben said, gym class should not count towards the grade point average, so we have the same one, Wendy. With that being so, I am better suited to be the captain, for I was able to convince Ms. Baker to ask you and you allowed her to sway you into giving it up. Also, like I told Ms. Baker, the moderator will take me more serious, for I am a male. I know, it is not fair, but we need to use any advantage to win. Wendy retorted back, first thing, Ben, you seem to have forgotten our freshman and sophomore years. I got a better grade than you in English along with Jim. Also, Ms. Baker did not convince me of anything. She coerced me into doing so, from she kept on asking me to do so from a position of power. You know what, Ms. Baker, Ben can be captain of the team, for I quit. Wendy was not making an idle threat about quitting. She did not like that Ms. Baker gave in to Ben on something which she has earned. Wendy felt that Ben used her sex against her. Wendy did not think that Ben was a sexist, he was an opportunist. This is for Kim did the same thing. She tried to steal the captaincy from Liam by saying that she should be captain for more women need to be in position of leadership. Ms. Baker was not happy with Ben or Wendy. She did not like that Ben lied about the grade point average. She would have never asked Wendy to let him be captain if she knew the truth. Ms. Baker also thought that Wendy was overreacting, so Ms. Baker came up with a compromise. Wendy, don't quit. I think that I have a solution which will make you both happy. Both you and Ben will be co-captains. Your grade point averages are very close and both of you should be rewarded for doing so well in your classes. Wendy did not like the solution and let Ms. Baker know about it. Ms. Baker, no, I earned being the captain and Ben did not. Doing so would take away from my accomplishment and will also reward Ben for being deceitful. You should have never even asked me to allow Ben to be captain once, let alone over 10 times. Like I said, I am done with the debate team. As Wendy was walking away when Ms. Baker said, "Wait, Wendy, can't we do co-captain for today's debate and revisit this topic before the next meet? I know we can work this out where both you and Ben are happy." Wendy did not want Ben and herself to be happy about this situation. She wanted what was right. Ms. Baker, with all due respect, I do not want the resolution of this to lead to Ben and I being happy. I want it to be the one which is right, the student on the team with the highest grade point average, being captain. Ms. Baker wanted to win this debate for it was against her school, Shermer High School's bitter rival MacGuffin Red Herrings. She knew that she could not win without Wendy on the team, so she relented. All right, Wendy, you made your point. You are the captain of the debate team. Ben started to protest and threatened to quit if he was not captain. Ms. Baker was not in the mood for dealing with him also. She knew the team could afford to lose him. He was smart and could come up with good strategies. He was not that strong with thinking on his feet. He planned ahead to set his verbal traps but needed his opponent to fall into it. When they did not, Wendy would save the day. Ms. Baker told him to quit then. He was wrong for asking her for the captainship. Then, lying about it, made it worse. Ben knew that his bluff was called, so he said, "Fine, if you want to give my captainship to Wendy, do it." Wendy was happy that she got what she deserved and joined the group. Before she could correct Ben, Ms. Baker did. Shermer High won the debate and everyone knew it was because of Wendy. Ben's traps would not have worked, for the other side knew what to expect from him. Before Wendy went home, Ms. Baker told her student she was happy that Wendy stood up to her. Wendy quickly told Ms. Baker that she did many times. Ms. Baker then said she was wrong for not accepting Wendy's answer the first time, and to be honest, to even ask. Wendy got a ride home from Vic. They talked about their day and how strange, yet familiar, it was. Vic dropped one off at her front yard. Chapter 8. Wendy got home from school and the first thing she did was change her outfit. It was just black legging and a Shermer High Battle Beagles t-shirt, but it was perfect. She was looking forward to going to the game tonight as Vic's girlfriend, and the outfit will show him her support of her new main squeeze. She could not wait to show her school spirit, for it would be rooting on her man. With being a football player's girlfriend, Wendy was looking forward to putting on the last piece of her ensemble at the game, a face decal with his number, 88, on it. When Ian came home, he found Wendy was downstairs thinking. She was wondering why having this new life was so natural to her and was worried that she might forget her real life. Even with considering her life as Liam, her real life, she was still enjoying being Wendy. Wendy did not want to forget the real experiences she had, which made her who she was. Ian called out to his sis and she snapped out of her train of thought. Ian looked like he was in a hurry as he asked Wendy how she was doing. Wendy thought Ian's scrambling around was strange, for he had a couple of hours before he had to leave for the game. She told him she was awesome and asked him what is up. Ian said, "I am going to school right now to get ready for the game." That home visit from the scout today was also with the head coach. They have a bye this week, and with the university being a half-hour away, he came along. They are at the school waiting for me. But, before I go, I want to know how the debate went. Wendy was so happy that her brother was not only a 5-star football recruit, he was also a 5-star older brother. She told him it went great and how she stood up to Ms. Baker and was named captain again. Ian was so ecstatic hearing about Wendy standing up to Ms. Baker. He wanted his sister to get what she deserved. He would not admit the fact, but Ian was a feminist. He would say he was a humanist, for he was for the equal treatment for all. He did not want people to think that he was only worried about equal rights for women. Ian kissed her on the cheek and told her he was so proud of her for making sure she got what she earned, and it was great that under her leadership, her team won. On his way out, he asked her if she would not mind hanging out with Vic before the game. Vic and Ian had a ritual of hanging out and playing PlayStation before the game, and Ian felt bad for missing it. He knew that Vic would understand but wanted to make sure his best friend was prepared for the game. Vic might only be the slot receiver, but he was so important to Ian. He was his safety valve for when the other team blitzed. Vic's new girlfriend told her brother, of course. Wendy wanted to tell her brother that those two were an item right now, but knew it should wait. Her brother would have not gone to see the head coach before the game for a few reasons. 1, he would want to tell his sister how happy he was for her and hear all about it. He knew the crush that she had on Vic. Being there for his sister would have been more important than hearing another sales pitch on why he should go to State U. He was going there already. Another was Ian was a protective older brother, and even with Vic being his best friend and great guy, Vic would have given his standard warning of "you better not break my sister's heart or I will break your neck" speech. As Vic left for the game, Wendy started to think about what her brother and Vic did other than play PlayStation. She was shocked that it was all they did. Just be in a zone playing, not talking. With Vic being Vicky, Wendy knew he would be at his best while relaxed and expressing himself, not all uptight and keeping it all in. Vic came over and got a little tense when he found out that Ian was not there. He was happy that State U was bringing out the big guns to get his best friend there, yet, he still wanted his pregame ritual. Vic actually became a little mystified when he realized he needed the comfort of the familiarity of doing something which he actually never has done before. Wendy wanted to put her man at ease, so she said, "Vic, do not worry, I got something we can do which will put your mind at ease." Vic's eyes widened. He knew he wanted to be intimate with Wendy, but he is not ready to handle that as a man. He knew how easy it was being a male for himself, but was amazed at how well Wendy was adapting to being a female. He suddenly said, "I am not ready for that." Wendy playfully smacked Vic on his right arm. "OMG, Vicky, you are really a man now, thinking of sex right away." "I was not. I am also not ready for that. I am still trying to handle thinking of it and remembering how much I enjoy it as Wendy. We are going to play Obligation of Service, Spec Ops, and joke around while we beat the bad guys. You set up the PlayStation in Ian's room, and I will make you a ham and cheese sandwich and get us some drinks." Vic was so embarrassed by his mind going to sex right away. He knew, as Vicky, he would have been so offended by a boy she just started to go steady with, thinking they were going to have sex. He wanted to show Wendy he will never be the type of man who pressures her to do anything sexually. Wendy, I am sorry. It is just I am thinking like a male. I am not ready for sex either. In a way, I do not know if I will ever be ready for it. I am ready to share my life with you, and that is what matters. Please do not be mad over where my mind went. Also, thanks, ham and cheese sandwich sounds great. Wendy smiled and went on to reassure her regretful boyfriend. Stud, I am fine with where your mind went, for up to yesterday my mind would have gone to the same place. I know you will not pressure me for your past as Vicky and also the type of man you are. Also, you will be ready for sex one day. We are taking to our lives, like a fish to water. Look at the little things, you did not like ham as Vicky, but now the ham and cheese sandwich sounds great to you. You used to want a bologna and mayo sandwich. Your favorite pizza now is sausage and onions while it used to be pepperoni and mushrooms. I used to hate yogurt and now love it. Anyway, back to what is important, getting you ready to play the best game you ever played. Vic and Wendy spent the next couple of hours playing PlayStation and talking about both realities. Wendy was happy she kept her skills at playing video games, and Vic thought it rocked how good he was now. They laughed so much thinking of if somehow this reality's Vic and Wendy were living their old lives. They did marvel at how well the two realities meshed in a distorted manner. How the outcomes came about to make them mirror themselves. Liam's mom got pregnant with Iris, so she became a nurse, instead of going to medical school, just like what happened to Wendy's mom. Those couple of hours pasted so quickly, and Vic never felt so ready to play football. He forgot for a moment that he was Vicky when he thought to himself that Wendy was good for him, that she made him the best man he could be. That was the first time he referred to himself as a male in his thoughts. Wendy forgot for a moment that she was Liam when she thought to herself that Vic was so good for her, that he made her the best woman she could be. That was the first time she referred to herself as a female in her thoughts. Wendy walked Vic to the door, and they kissed, then he left to go to the game. She turned around and saw her dad was watching. She screamed D and then laughed. The laughter came from with it feeling so girly to do. She knew that she would have done the same as Liam. D had a big grin on his face. He was so happy that his little princess finally has gotten her prince. Rich so wanted those two to get together. He wanted them to have the fairy tale relationship of being each other's first and not only boyfriend/girlfriend, but this real-life version would suffice. He, in a playful manner, said, "Now there is a man who I can freely give you away to." Wendy light-heartedly replied, "That is the only man you could ever freely give me away to." Then, they talked about Wendy's day. Her dad was so proud of her thinking of going out for the basketball team. It was almost the last thing he thought he would hear today. His daughter and Vic getting together was the last. He was ecstatic hearing his daughter standing up to Mrs. Baker. He knew that she wanted to, but had been scared to make that stand. His little princess was becoming a strong woman. Hearing about Vic and her made his day. It was not only for she wanted it, it was also for those two were so good for each other. They already had the bond of friendships which would only make their love deeper and stronger than most relationships. Rich believed that a person should marry their best friend. Wendy's mom came home and saw those two laughing on the couch. She jokingly said, "I swear, Rich, sometimes you are her mom, not me, with how you two chatter so well with each other. Now I am going to get changed and we will go over the Welkers and then to go to the game. I know they want to sit with their son's new girlfriend." Joan might have joked about it, but she so loved that her husband had that close connection to their children. She liked that he was the good cop. He was more suited for that role than her. She also knew that by him taking on the nurturing role raising the kids made him the strongest man she knew. He did not care about stereotypes and knew he was his own person. Wendy actually did a spit take with her iced tea from laughing so hard at that joke. If they only knew he was my mom until yesterday, she thought. Chapter 9. When Wendy finally met Vic's older sister Lisa at Welker's homestead, she thought it was so unfair. Lisa looked like a spitting image of Vicky. Wendy liked being cute, but why did she not get to look just like Iris? Her jealousy quickly went away when she figured out how good her life was, if her biggest complaint was being cute. The Doyle and Welker's family arrived at the game. They sat in the family section and Wendy, for the first time, was happy to just be watching a game. Her group took the added enjoyment she had to having Vic as her boyfriend. The truth was, as Liam, she did enjoy watching football and played his freshman year. He quit playing when he got a bad concussion. The game started badly for the Battle Beagles. The opening kickoff was returned for a touchdown. Their first series on offense was a 3-and-out. Then, MacGuffin Red Herrings kicked a field goal to go up 10-0. Then, next two series both teams made a couple of first downs but no scoring. Then Ian threw an interception which was returned for a touchdown to make the score 17-0 at the end of the first quarter. During the break at the end of the first quarter, Wendy ran down to the edge of the stands and called for her brother to give him some advice. The star QB's biggest fan said she noticed a couple of things that would help her brother dissect the defense and wanted to share it with him. Ian and Vic both came over and she told them about how the free safety would lead in with his left shoulder while he was faking a blitz and his right when he would blitz. Also, the strong safety would not do any pre-snap roaming in the defensive backfield when they were in a cover 3. Ian went over to humor his sister when he heard her scream, "I notice a couple of signs the other team is giving." When he heard her info, he was happy that she came over. He wondered when she got that knowledgeable about football overnight, but really did not care. This was going to help. As the two Gridiron Warriors were going back to the field, Wendy said one more thing. "Throw it a little higher than normal to Vic. He can climb the ladder to get to those balls." Ian looked at his best friend and Vic was thinking why Wendy would have said to do that, and when he figured out the answer, told his buddy to do it. Vic figured out that he could now jump higher and have better control of his body while doing so, for he had all the skills of Vicky. She took gymnastics, ballet and cheerleading, so now he has great control of his body. From that point on, the Battle Beagles were unstoppable on offense. Ian did as his sister told him and threw a jump ball up for Vic to battle for, and Vic caught it. Vic also had better juke moves and gained more yardage after the catch. He was having the game of his life, and the head coach and scout from State U noticed. They had an extra scholarship and were going to use it on this Vic. They loved the chemistry between him and Ian, plus giving his best friend a scholarship will make sure they landed the whale they were really after. Even with the Battle Beagles making a great comeback, they were still down 33-28 on the Red Herrings 4-yard line with 3 seconds left. Ian came up to the line and read the defense. He saw the free safety edge up to the line leading with his right shoulder, and the strong safety stood still. He smiled, for he saw it was a zone blitz with a cover 3 pass coverage. He looked at Vic and Vic looked back at him. Ian called no real audible to his other teammates but shouted Wendy before the snap. Ian knew that meant Vic would know he was going to do a quick out to be the safety valve against the blitz. Ian took a 3-step drop and was hit hard by the blitzing safety right before he released the ball. It went a little high from the early release. Vic climbed the ladder and caught it in the end zone right next to the sideline. He came down with the ball and with his newly gained body control did a quick double toe tap to get both feet in bounds. Vic looked right at Wendy and started to do the victory cheer. All of the cheerleaders but Terry Jo Hines laughed, for they thought he was mocking her. He was not. That was him doing what Vicky would have done automatic after a huge play. The fans came rushing out of the stands after the final play and the home team had vanquished their bitter nemesis. Wendy ran towards her brother and he thought he was going to get a huge hug from his #1 fan, then saw her line of sight was towards Vic. He then notices Vic's number 88 on his sister's left cheek and smiled. He was going to have to tell her how happy he is for her and also warn Vic that he better plan on becoming his brother-in-law, for Ian was not going to let those two break up. As Wendy hugged the new hometown hero, Terry Jo Hines came walking up to them with envy. She cheated on Vic to get with John Swan, the team's star wide receiver. She thought that he was going to be the star of the team this year. She took a verbal swipe at that junior who now was with who should be her man. "You can have Vic, I am done with him." Wendy was not going to have any of that. "Dear, don't be mad for you lost a stud to be with a dud." Ian came running over to join in the celebration and start a fresh one for the new two lovebirds. He hugged his friend and said, "You better stay with your new woman, for she helped you play the best game ever. And sis, you better keep on doing whatever you did to pick up that knowledge. You could be the first female head coach in the NFL." Wendy thought about it. Yes, I could do it. It might not be the most important glass ceiling to break, but she was going to do so. She loved football and doing so would not be a job to her. It would be getting paid to do something she enjoyed. As they were talking, Ian's girlfriend, head cheerleader Andrea Gibson, came up to join the celebration. So did Gina Guttenbrug, Wendy's best friend. Gina just hugged Wendy and absorbed the good vibes. Andrea told Ian there was a change of plans. Instead of heading to Harry's House of Hamburgers, Triple H, to hang out, those two were going to Terry Jo's house so Ian can become better friends with Terry's new man, John Swan. He needed to be friendlier with John for they are soon going to be best friends. Ian told her no, he already has a best friend and they already had plans. There was no way he was not going to spend the night with anyone but Vic and Wendy. Those two helped him turn around his performance in the game. That was his best friend and his sister, so even if they did not help him, they were too important to him to ditch them. Plus, the boy who secured his athletic scholarship could not stand John. John was conceited and had the personality of stale white bread, dry and bland. Ian loved the fact John was a deep threat, but that was the only thing he found John useful for. John came over and said, "Come on, I-Man, let's get ready to go. We need to talk about you passing me the ball more." I was so open all game long. Targeting in on Vic to make him feel good about his ex dumping him almost cost us the game. Andrea said you two can talk about this tomorrow at the dance. We will just get to know each other better tonight. Ian already told Andrea that he was not going to sit with Terry Jo and John at the dance. He knew that she was trying to make him choose being with her over his friend. Ian said, "You can talk with them at the dance about anything you want. I will not be with you at the dance if those two are at our table." Andrea, thinking that the status of dating the head cheerleader was important to Ian, said, "Well, we are done if we do not sit with Terry and John." Ian never liked being given an ultimatum and said, "Fine, we are done." Andrea laughed, for she thought that Ian would care about going to the dance stag. "Like, who would you get to go instead of me, her?" she said, while pointing at Gina. Gina was so hurt and humiliated by Andrea putting her down for no reason. Gina started to physically curl up when Ian said, "Yes, I would love to take Gina to the homecoming dance. She will be better company and a better date than you ever were, Andrea." Seeing those tears formed in Gina's eyes made Ian realize how special she was. How much he cared for her, for those tears brought pain to his heart. That all he wanted to do was wipe them away if they came out of her beautiful green eyes. Ian had a crush on his little sister's best friend. Ian looked at Gina. I am serious. I would love to take you to the homecoming dance as my date. I would also enjoy it if you sat next to me at Triple H. Those tears in Gina's eyes quickly dried up. The smile on her face pulled in all the lights from the stadium's night lights. She was going to have a date with her crush, and he wanted more than just one date. She played it cool and said, I would love that, Ian. As Ian suggested, they got ready to go to eat. He walked over to Gina and offered her his hand as they left the stadium. Gina took his hand and they joined Vic and Wendy, who were already walking hand in hand. Chapter 10. Wendy woke up Saturday and she felt different. She went to wipe the hair out of her face and none was there. She looked at her hands and her nails were not long. In fact, they looked like she has been chewing on them. Her nails were also not painted. She looked down and saw she had a t-shirt on. Wendy looked around her room and it was a mess. Where her vanity used to be was a PlayStation and a television. Her shoes were replaced with boys' shoes. She thought to herself she was back in Liam's room. She did not scream this time. It might have been only the second time she woke up to a new reality, but she was already used to it. Then, it dawned on her, she was Liam again. He was so happy that he was himself until he realized that he did not have Vic anymore. He thought of yesterday and only one set of memories came to him. He was a little down, but experiencing whatever yesterday was, gave him the resolve to ask Vicky out. Not just saying they should go out, but ask her in a formal manner. As he walked out of his room, trying to come up with a good plan to win Vicky's heart, he did not notice the single rose that Vic bought Wendy on his dresser. He was walking down the hall when Iris came out of her room. He thought that was strange, for he could tell she was waiting for him. Iris said, Hey there, cutie, I hope you are ready to take your stud to the dance tonight. It will be great for us four to sit together. Liam was so happy to see Iris again. She might not be the star QB, but her future is bright also. She just came back from her interview about getting a full piano scholarship at Juilliard. She was going to be a huge concert pianist, he knew it. Liam, looking confused, said, I am ready. Then, he paused, and his voice went up and repeated it. Liam figured out if he was cutie, then somehow Vicky had to be stud. Yesterday must has had happened. Iris laughed at her brother trying to play it smooth with her. She hugged him and told him he better get downstairs, Dad was waiting for him. Liam hightailed it downstairs and his dad was in the kitchen drinking his coffee. Hello, Dad, what's up? John thought his son must have been nervous. Liam had his first date with Vicky tonight. John knew it must have meant a lot to his son, for he asked his dad to get him a suit. He did not ask his mom, the parent who would usually handle it. John had said yes, for he wanted to bond with his son. He wanted his son to feel closer to him as a person, not just as his parent. Liam, after I finish my coffee. No, when you are ready, we are going to get you a new suit. I have a tailor friend who owes me a huge favor, so he will have a fitted suit ready for you by 5 tonight. After we get the suit, how about me and you get a pizza, and just talk? You can spend time with Dee. Liam, inquisitive, said, Dee. What the hell is going on? Why is my dad wanting me to call him Dee, and he's wanting to hang out with me? Maybe he switched places with Wendy's dad, Liam thought. John said, Yeah, call me Dee. I am a little jealous of the relationship you and your mom have, so I want to get closer to you. I do not want to put up any barrier of you calling me Dad while you are so relaxed with M, plus M and D sound cool. Liam said, Dee, that would be great. I will be right back and then we will go. Liam was going over to Vicky's when he saw her coming over to his house. As soon as they saw each other, they ran, and when they met, they hugged each other. Vicky said, "Hey there, cutie, I love you." Liam said, "Hey there, stud, I love you too." They both laughed, for somehow yesterday was real, and they both knew it. Epilogue. Wendy went to her computer and started to write an email. She put in Liam's email address. If yesterday was real, then maybe, just maybe, the magic which made her Liam yesterday would send this message to him. "Hey there, Liam, mail me. Thank you for yesterday, I could not have done better, then again, in some way, I am you and you are I. Also, you are welcome about Vicky, we both did a great job at being ourselves. I have to get going, need to pick that dress out, and you know how much we love to shop. If you get this and when you have the time, write me. Love, Wendy, female. You time and space is not for us or against us. They do not care what is right or what is wrong. They only care about if what should happen does become to be. Time and space will go to great lengths to fix itself when an interference takes place and blocks what should be.